Okay, right. Let's close you, get into Zoom, because now I can't see you at all.
Okay. That's all right. That's not a bad thing. Hey, how's it going, Rachel? You okay?
Oh, hey, Paul. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you. You look amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. I've got a really good team.
Okay. I'm loving the glasses, by the way.
Thank you. I didn't know whether they'd end up causing loads of glare on your
No.
side, because I'm currently in what we have as the games room in our house.
Yeah,
and it's got really good lighting, and I was like, that'd be the perfect room. And then I realized that I wear glasses and it causes me a lot of issues sometimes.
No. Yeah, I can see your eyes. That's that's your Warhammer room, right?
Yeah, it's the Warhammer room. It's currently used more for Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
And storage, but it's like we have a chalk wall. All of our friends have signed it. You know, it keeps the scores on big game days.
So have you got like a big table that everything's laid out on? And
yeah, it's probably like a 12-seater dining table kind of thing. And we have I'm glad I'm on your platform, because you know I know you started out originally with like tech and that kind of thing, so I'm hoping that your demographic is going to like this, because I know my mum gets very confused with it when I try and describe it to her, but we have like the maps laid out on the table and everything, and like overlays so it can change terrain and things like that.
Have you built any for everybody who's listening and wondering what the hell we're talking about Warhammer, or Warhammer 40,000, which is a role-playing game where you go to Games Workshop and you buy sets of small models or individual models, and sometimes they're made out of lead, sometimes they're made out of plastic, and then you put them together and build them, and then you paint them, and then there's a very complex role-playing game. Yeah, they just got a tiny one there. So that's what we're talking about. So when I was building it and collecting it, when I was probably from age 11 onwards, I got into it at high school. We used to use polystyrene all the time to make our bases. Do you do that?
Yeah. So like any like Christmas is the best time, because we tend to get so many boxes filled with goodies that everyone else would just think, oh, that's going to the tip. We're like, oh, that could make a really good cave layout. So exactly, I don't make them myself. I've only recently gotten into it, like in the past like 2 years. But my partner and his brother are so good at it. Like if I showed you some of the stuff that's here, it's very impressive. Time and dedication goes into it.
Without breaking it, by all means, like if it's within reach, just show us.
I don't have anything within reach at the moment. I tried to clear things out the background a little bit just in case, but you made me this amazing sign, so
maybe
now
we could do maybe we could do like a Warhammer special with your boyfriend. You can come on, maybe a couple of your friends can come on.
Oh, that would be amazing.
They could talk about it, maybe even, oh my god, maybe even like a live game.
That would be so cool. Because they've been meaning to get so much more into it, because they tend to invite people around to the house because we've got such a good space for it. We've obviously not been able to do that in a while, so they are missing it so much and want to get back into it. So they've got like all the orcs came out in September, like the codex and everything, so we've got all the new stuff and we're just raring to go.
I just had a good idea.
That would be really good.
What do you think about like Dungeons and Dragons? As long as you're kind of there-ish, like, so if you were connected via Zoom call, so we could put the shout out now to all the Cybernauts, you know, everybody watching. If they wanted to do, we could do a massive Dungeons and Dragons campaign run by your boyfriend or his friends and you. And people could join in, and you know, they could do a roll of a dice at home. And
I'm trying to think of what it's called. We're just about to start a new campaign with some of our friends are doing their PhDs down south. So obviously they can't be here to join us anymore. So we're doing it virtually, hopefully, at least some of the sessions. So it wouldn't be too much harder to, do a virtual one all round. And I suppose it's more imaginative then, isn't it? Because you don't have
you're literally not there. You don't have the stuff in front of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be so cool.
There is, I think with Zoom, there is a way to draw, like to have a blank screen that people can see.
Nice.
So you could draw like the layout of the land and put like little X's and arrows as to where the characters are and what it is that they're facing.
Considering, because this house is filled with like gaming computers and like all the Dungeons and Dragons stuff, the Warhammer stuff, loads of different games. So we're trying to figure out if we can hook up, like get a kind of like cheap webcam to hook up above the table, so that we can see what we have set out. That our friends that join us from around, like they might be able to see us at the same time, but they'll be able to see like a bird's eye image of the table, because I'll have to show it you. It's such a cool setup.
You might be able to do, no offense YouTube, but you might be able to like do this through Twitch. And that's like a gaming platform. People might be into it already. They might play the digital versions of the Warhammer games, and they might think, oh, what's this? Is Warhammer?
Yeah.
And that might open up a whole new hobby to people everywhere.
It's so much fun. And like I've always like aired on the nerdy side of life. I've always been into my books, my films, my like
witchcraft.
Of course, witchcraft. Shh, don't tell people, that's how I get the sales. But I've always done like dabbled in gaming, and I've never gone too deep into it, because it's costly to start with, isn't it? If you start first getting into like Warhammer, where you've got to build an army, it is costly. So I've kind of like stayed away from it a little bit. But then obviously when I got together with my partner and he started showing me like he's got all these collections, so I can borrow one of his leftover armies while he plays with his main one. And oh my God, it's so much fun. And I really think that it's such a social thing, considering the stereotype is to be shy and reclusive. I've met so many people through it.
I don't think that's true though. I think loads of different types of people play it, and like really confident people play it as well. If you go into any games workshop in the UK, the people who work there, they're really outgoing, confident people, because they're interacting with people all the time because of the social element of the game. So I think it's a really good way to build confidence. And also coming from like the perspective of a teacher, it's great for English and maths, because there's so much maths and like trajectory and the roll of dice and probability
there really
and all.
is,
there's all of that built into it. So if if kids of school age are getting into it as well, that can then help them with their GCSE maths and even English as well, because of all of the thousands of books of lore that go into the background of all the characters and the stories. There's so much to read and to learn. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, my partner's twin actually teaches at a school, and he runs a Warhammer club on lunchtimes for some of the kids. I think he's veered away from that now, and he does chess club, but like the Warhammer club was really popular as well. So, and it is great to just make new friends, isn't it, as well? Any kind of hobby that you get into like that.
I forgot that you said that you told me yesterday that he was a twin. Do you ever get confused?
No, luckily I've known them. So I'm 29 now, and I've known them since I was 16.
Right. Okay.
But when I would first start getting to know them both, I'd never see them both at the same time.
Okay.
So it was really hard to work out the differences between them when you don't see them together. So I'd sometimes be like, "Hi, I remember you." Keith, and he'd go, "Yes, it's Keith." I'd be like, "Oh right, okay, thank God."
So which one are you with now? Is it Keith?
So I'm with Carrie.
You're with Carrie.
Keith and Carrie, so I'm with Carrie. I did get really tired once, maybe like 2 years ago, when we were first starting to get together, and I walked into the living room with a drink, and I just handed it and went, "Here you go, Kez." I call him Kez. And I got this look back like, "I'm not your boyfriend." I was like, "Oh, okay, sorry."
Well, at least that's all it was. Like, imagine if it was something else.
At least I know when I get to the top of the stairs, right is one bedroom, left is another. So that's the main thing.
You live with both of them?
Currently, yes, yeah.
Oh my God. Did they ever play tricks on you?
No, I think
Guys,
when they were younger,
listening,
they'd have like the same haircut, they'd wear pretty much the same clothes, that kind of thing. So it's really hard, like 10 years ago. Now they're quite distinctive from each other. I suppose when people get facial hair and like the hair changes, you know, you can start telling people apart a bit better. But
that is still pretty cool.
Touch wood, I haven't got them confused so far.
What about your neighbors? Like, do they ever get confused?
No, I know my mum, when she first met Keith, so that not my partner, she kind of like went, oh hiya, oh like actually I don't think you're the right person, but you look really much like him. So it confuses people when they first meet them. And I know we've had like, I mean, they're probably used to it, so they don't notice it, but we've had like double takes in shops and things like that. And one of them's a teacher, Keith is a teacher, and Carrie isn't. And the amount of times that me and Carrie have been into
students or parents and
people
like
have been like, oh, Mr. Moyle, and I'm like, no, that's not the right one. Or you know, kids like Keith's girlfriend works in a school as well, so they know them as a couple. So we went away for our anniversary once, and some woman approached us looking really angry and was like, hiya. I was like, hi, are you okay? And she obviously thought that Keith was with his mistress out for a walk.
Busted.
Until she got close enough to realize we're completely different people. So it's interesting sometimes.
Wow. That is really cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Like I always wanted to have twins myself.
Oh, really?
And I was thinking, like, how cool would it be?
Double
like
the
dressing
trouble.
up the same, double trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
So adventurous. Like, that's really awesome. So we're here, not really to talk about Warhammer, although it is awesome. Or twins. We're here to talk about travel.
Yes.
And your adventures basically as well. Of
hopefully never-ending adventures.
So like a little bit of background, we met each other, I don't know, like over 10 years ago or something, in the Tash through mutual friends. The Tash was an excellent rock venue. The best, like, cave full of teenagers, a dark, dank, sticky floored cave where people would get together in a mosh pit and drink, and all sorts of naughtiness went on there.
Gone were the days that I could meet someone on a night out and accidentally headbutt them in a mosh pit.
And
they'd be like, "Oh, you're so cool," know. Now it's like, "Did you just intentionally try and hit me?" I'm like, "No."
No, I'm just dancing.
I'm having a mosh.
The Tash was like the best place, wasn't it? It's a shame like that it's gone. Like, that building was so iconic as well. I know it looked run down, and what is there now is a lot more attractive. It's a lot better. It's spruced up the area. Near the train station in Blackpool. But I missed that building.
It's good memories, isn't it? Real good memories. So it's a shame.
When you were in there, everybody was like, like, even though you're going into a place where people can look threatening because there's like punks and rockers and all sorts of stuff like that.
There's spikes hanging off everyone every which way.
Like, everybody was super, super friendly. Like, and it was like you could make like 100 friends in a night, and then you've got those friends like forever. Those were good days. So that's where we met. We're through other people like
looked a lot fresher back then. Oh my God.
I think I look better now. Yeah, maybe.
You look fantastic.
Thank you. I've sorted my style out. I didn't know what I was doing back then. It's difficult when you're in your 20s and you're going bald. You don't know what to do.
I think you probably don't recognize me because I'm actually wearing color. Back then it was just complete full black, I think.
Maybe. I have a memory of I even have photos of you in like a navy colored dress with white on it. Yeah.
Oh,
I,
okay. Yeah,
yeah.
navy. Yeah, it's close enough to black that I could probably
Yeah. Yeah.
pass it off. Yeah, back
I'll
then.
I don't know if you've probably haven't seen these photos for a long time, but I'll fish them out and
Yeah, and scare me.
yeah, I'll send them over to you. um, so I've put together a list of questions
Fab.
just in case, like, we couldn't think of anything, but I think we're doing great. So what is the favorite place that you've been to so far?
I think I always struggle with that question because there's so
Yeah.
many places that I've been to now. So a little bit of like history for me. I started traveling when I'd been a few places, but I started really traveling when I was in my 20s, very early 20s, just to get away from like the monotony of day-to-day life. So I've been to 4 different continents, 5 once I hit Japan in a couple months' time.
Nice.
And I've worked across 4 of them. So I've been to such varying places that it's like one place is really good for one thing. Like I loved the Caribbean for the sun and being able to drink like pina coladas out of a pineapple. Like what an experience that is. So that was great for that.
And
But
like
then you've
they
got,
have like white beaches there as well.
yeah, so
Like,
this background that I've got here, this is actually a picture I took from when I was flying over Grand Cayman in a helicopter. And like you can see the water is
it's
just
so blue.
pure blue and see-through. Like there's something about that that just makes you happy, and like the sand that feels good under your
Yeah,
feet.
there really is. I went to Mexico in 2007 in December, and
Yeah,
I remember getting off the plane and I was like, "Whoa, this wall of
yeah,
heat hit
like
me."
Jesus, I thought it'd be
Yeah.
cold because it's December and still
Yeah.
I'm happy.
And that was like the first time I ever saw shooting stars as well,
Oh
because
wow.
you're like closer to the equator,
Yeah,
and the sky is so clear over there. There was just loads and loads and loads of shooting stars. It was
yeah.
amazing. So yeah, go on, carry on. Sorry.
No, don't worry. But I think over all the places, like whether it's the culture I've enjoyed or the nightlife or like the beaches, I think New Orleans is probably my favorite.
Oh right.
I was very, very lucky. I used to work on cruise ships and I managed to go to New Orleans for 3 days during their jazz festival. So
Oh,
you can
wow.
imagine the streets are packed. It's basically like Mardi Gras with a different kind of music going on.
Yeah.
So beads were being flung from balconies. The food was amazing. There was like jambalaya on the streets. There was beignets on the streets. There was dancing in the streets and
Ah,
music coming
and
out
the
of
odors and the
everywhere.
smells and like the
Yeah,
smell of the food, and like, can you imagine that magical atmosphere in a place surrounded by all those beautiful buildings as well, and so much
it was
history?
phenomenal. Like you'd go down one street and you'd be like in the famous graveyards where they talk about Marie Laveau and like the history of vampires and things like that, which is
Mm.
so kind of
Yeah,
interesting and voodoo.
yeah,
And
it's
then you'd
very
go down the
synonymous.
next street and it's a jazz bar, and like everywhere you turned, you were like, I don't know where I am. Like
Yeah.
things are just so crazy here. So it was absolutely phenomenal. And one of my favorite things was they did cocktails to go. So you'd go to literally like a hole in the wall, like as big as like a little tiny window in someone's bathroom. And you just order a cocktail through the window and they give it in this giant like to go cup. And you just walk the streets with giant cocktails. Oh, amazing.
That's so weird. Like, and I think I saw on a documentary, maybe it was like I can't remember what it was exactly, but they have these like shrimp jambalaya sort of
Yeah.
restaurants, and they like have all of they have like a spice bath where it's basically like a massive huge stainless steel container. It looks like a bath, and they
Yeah.
put all of the seafood in there and they just mix it all with all the
Oh,
spices and just cook it like a
I could
giant thing.
imagine that. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
the
It's
food.
if you've not managed to go, New Orleans is just it's beautiful to look at anyway, but then you get there and there's so much to do and so many interesting places to visit. It's
So you would recommend that then strongly?
yeah,
Yeah.
highly, highly recommend. And it's great because you go anywhere in the States and you can tag on so many different places. So you could do like a couple days in New York and then fly down to New Orleans, or do other places in like Louisiana and this like that southern kind of America.
So say for instance, I was watching this and I became like really enthusiastic or excited about New Orleans, and that was a place that I already, you know, kind of wanted to go to.
Yeah.
How would I go about booking that trip, like with you?
So essentially, I can do the same as any high street travel agent or online package holiday, essentially. So if you wanted to get like a branded package holiday like Jet2, TUI, anything like that, you can come to me. I can provide those. But if you wanted something tailored, I'm fully ATOL and PTS protected, which is like financial protection for your money.
Yeah.
You still need holiday insurance, but it's like that little bit safer to do. So if you had an idea of where you're after, like, oh, I wanted to go to New Orleans for 5 days, and then I'm going to fly to Mexico and do like a week on the beach there or something like that. You just tell me a rough idea of what you wanted, when you wanted to go, maybe a budget if you're so inclined as well. And then I can package things together, like based on what kind of activities you want to do. And it's really nice having the freedom of not being tied into a specific provider.
Yeah.
Because I can then check all of them for the best prices, any discount codes that have come in recently. I can add on things like your airport parking to your airport lounge, your
Or like
flights.
like adventure days or stuff like that, where
Yeah,
there
so
might
if
be
you
like
wanted to go
a local tour.
snorkeling,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
there's loads of little things that can be added on to your trip and tailor made. So I've just been working on one for one of my friends who, she's absolutely fantastic. She wants to make sure that her children get to travel as much as they can and see the world before they decide on where they want to settle in life.
Yeah.
It's a really nice idea. It gets her traveling as well, and it ticks off her entire bucket list. So she's just set me with a task on a Dubai, Sri Lanka holiday for
Okay.
her, a family, and like they're just above toddler age now, so they'll be like very young children. So it's like trying to find the best places in these locations for like
For a young
5-year-olds.
family. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
it's interesting.
yeah, like that's something that I think about quite a bit. Because since last time I saw you, I now have two daughters.
Yeah.
Married and two kids and stuff. So yeah, my like I want to take my daughters on holiday at some point. But you know, that's something that I'm kind of I'm worried about.
Yeah.
Like where would be the best place to go, like for somebody with two young kids? Like I'm really keen. I think I want to go to like Disneyland,
Yeah.
or Disneyland Paris or something like that. So it's not too far. So you know.
Yeah, because you worry about
Yeah.
how they're going to be on a flight. It's the first
Yeah.
time they're flying, and you don't want to do a 12-hour flight with young kids who get bored easily or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, it's very much what you and your family are like as well. So we've got to figure out what you and your family would like to do and what's possible. So if you know that your kids will only manage like a 3-hour flight and then they're going to go crazy,
Yeah.
then we look closer to home. You know, if they're more traveled and they're used to kind of sitting there on a DS or something for hours, you can maybe look a bit long haul. But Disney's something that we sell quite a lot of, and Disney cruises as well.
So with your customers, like I would say one of the like the unique selling points of your service is that you can you can really tailor like based on their needs and their circumstances. So you can take that time to like put together the perfect package, whereas somebody who's under the pressure of like a 9 to 5 has a boss like, you know, breathing down their necks and they have targets and stuff like that, they might miss like minute details that might not be, you know, in the end provide like the exact bespoke service that you can.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be a manager of large travel agents in the Northwest anyway, and they're all absolutely fantastic and they will give you what they can, but like you say, they do have targets. So the good thing about being self-employed with it is that I don't really have those targets. I'm going to try and, when I started this out, I wanted to basically manage to get myself and my family cheap holidays.
Yeah.
that was the aim. I was like, what can I do to make sure that I can still travel now that I'm not
we've
working
lost your
abroad?
audio. Hey guys, and welcome back to part 2 of the Wanderlust special. We had a little technical difficulty with the audio. Typical man, I was blaming it on Rachel. So sorry
and
about that.
obviously, it wasn't me.
No, it was actually me. So yeah, I was the one with the audio issue. Thanks, China.
Free things from China. Don't always trust them. Top tip of the day.
Yeah, better to buy quality than just get things for free. Like
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, welcome back. And also, we probably forgot to mention that this is season 2, episode 1, and you're the first guest of this year.
It's a lot of pressure, isn't it, to be
a lot of pressure?
Because I've seen some of your previous videos, and you've had incredible guests, so intelligent, and I'm like, ooh, how am I gonna measure up?
Oh, easy, no problem. No, we all fake it. We all fake it.
I know, that's the thing. Okay. Fake it till you make it, it'll work.
Yeah, you've got to. So before we had our issue, we were saying, or you were saying that the reason you got into it was because you wanted cheap holidays for your family.
Yeah.
And then you were going to talk to me about how you got into the cruise ships as well.
Yeah. So when I originally started traveling on my own, I was a single girl. I was 23 years old, and I'd been working in accounts since I was like 16, right? So that's the job I had.
I remember that.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it's so long ago, isn't it? So I always thought I need a job that will pay me really well and be me for the rest of my life. And then I got to 23, so I'd only been working in it for like 7 years, and I was like, oh my God, it's so boring. Sorry for any accountants out there, just was not for me. So I'd done it for 7 years, and I was like, I need a change in my life. What can I do? I really wanted to go abroad somewhere, but I was young, female, and single. All my friends had partners who they were going abroad with,
and attractive. You were at risk.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a really hard thing to think of what I needed to do. So I ended up going, I was like, I really wanted to backpack around like Asia. Everyone was doing that at the time, or, you know, the trains around Europe. And I was like, I just don't know if it's safe enough for me to go on my own. So I joined a like-minded community of volunteers and actually ended up working in South Africa for, God, I can't even remember how long it was now. It was a couple months, I think. And I worked in South Africa with cheetahs and wild dogs.
Oh, wow.
And
wow. Was it scary going over there, like taking that leap to go over there?
Absolutely terrifying. I remember getting on the plane, and, you know, I'd been preparing so much. I had this huge backpack on my back, and I was only tiny back then as well. I was like half the size that I am now. So it was like almost teetering me over every time I walked anywhere. And I just booked it with like 2 weeks notice as well. So I'd gone to the doctors and I didn't have all the right vaccinations yet or anything. It was the least planned thing I've ever done in my life. And I got over there, and there was just this like one guy holding a sign that said my name, and I was like, oh, I feel so fancy right now. There's a guy holding a sign with my name on it. And he took me to this like really dodgy hostel. Everyone was asleep, and he was like, go in there, and like, that's your room for the night. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? Like, I'm about to wake up a room full of people. But anyway, I ended up at the conservation the next day and had the best time of my life. And I was like, I need to be in something like this. I need to be out working with people from all over the world, like doing something fun in the heat and all this kind of stuff. So I didn't really know how to do that. So I moved to Belgium, which is definitely not fun in the sun by any stretch of the imagination.
That's like the exact opposite. That's like England, but even more boring. Like, for anybody who's never been there. The whole place is grey.
It's got some gorgeous places, like the Grand Place in Belgium is like the big town square, and it's like glittering gold everywhere. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Well, they've got all that EU money, so, you know, they can afford that gold.
Exactly. And I went over there thinking, right, well, I'll try and learn French because that's a really handy language to know. It's easy to work over there because, I mean, at the time we were in the EU. We're in the EU, and I knew some people over there. I had family over there. I could get by with English because it's like the expat capital of the world, isn't it? You know, with the European Union in Brussels. So I thought, right, Belgium, I can do this. I can learn French, and then that will open the doors for me. And I moved there, and I ended up working in an Irish bar in the Dutch-speaking side of Belgium. So I didn't learn any French.
No.
I didn't even learn any Dutch. Yes,
no
I
Dutch either.
I managed to do pints. Luckily,
pints
I
Guinness,
had some bar experience before. Yeah, I did a lot of Guinness over there. And it was amazing because the bars would just close when people would leave. So if they left at 6 a.m, the bars closed at 6 a.m. Glass was served all night. You know, there was no switching to, and Belgian beer as well. There was like 4,000 different types. So it was crazy, absolutely crazy. Nothing like the UK.
Yeah, we'll give them that. Yeah, well done, Belgium.
Yeah, they did good on the beer front and cheese. Like, don't get me started on beer and cheese. But
cheese is life. I love cheese. That's why I'm in this state.
I know. We had a rough Christmas with the amount of cheese that we had. We're trying to go on a detox at the moment. But while I was over there, it was my mum's 50th, and my nana had organised. She was like an avid cruiser. She'd organised a cruise for the family to go on for my mum's birthday, and I was like, "Oh, cruise! It's going to be full of old people, like."
Nanas know about cruises, don't they?
Yeah, nanas know. Like she could do this job instead of me. She's crazy. And I was like, oh, I mean, yeah, it'd be great to go on a family holiday. We're doing the Mediterranean. That'll be nice. But a cruise, like, it's going to be full of like 90-year-old people. It's going to be horrendous. And anyway, I went and we had the most fun. They had like nightclubs and parties, and for someone who was like 23 at the time, it was absolutely phenomenal. And they had a pool party on like the second to last night of the cruise. And the cruise director, so he's like head of entertainment on board, and his staff, they were like, they had the DJs playing all the modern music. Everyone was up dancing. And he was like, right, everyone jump in the pool. And we're all in like our nice evening cruise gowns. So I thought, everyone's going to jump in the pool. This is great. So I ran in and jumped. Yeah. It was just me and the cruise director that did that. No one else bothered. And I was like, oh my God, this is a bit mortifying. But he turned to me and he was like, you know what? You are so much fun. You should get a job on a cruise ship. And I was like, oh yeah, sounds brilliant. You know, one day thinking he's just saying it to be nice to his guests. And anyway, I got back home, and a couple of weeks later, he'd got my email and said, I've got you an interview if you
GDPR.
want to. Yeah, I know. This was before that. And he was like, I've got you an interview if you want to work on a cruise ship. And I was like, okay, let's go. It was terrifying, but yeah, I ended up flying to Miami about 9 months later.
That's amazing.
It was unbelievable.
I think that old people do it on purpose, right? I think that cruise ships is like, it's one of the best kept secrets around, and they don't want 20-year-olds on there. Like, so they put off this image of, oh no, it's boring, it's just old people, we're not doing anything. But then every single person who I've spoken to who's gone on one, they have an amazing time.
Yeah, it's, you know what, it was one of the, I would never change it. If I would change anything, I would have done it when I was younger. And I would have had more time doing it, because obviously COVID has stopped me traveling on the cruise lines, and the fact that I was away for so long. I'd be in the UK for like maybe 2 weeks in a year, so it was hard to build any kind of life here. Well, yeah, with this weather, I'm very cold and I'm a lot less tanned than I was. It's it's really sad. But if I could have started that when I was like 18, 19 and done it for like 10 years, my life would have been made. It would have been brilliant. But the time that I did have on it, I worked in the Caribbean. I went to Alaska, Canada. I did all around the Med. I was supposed to go to like Australia and Japan in that. but obviously COVID. So I've got my own Japan itinerary that I've booked for cherry blossom season this year. But cruises are not just
so
old
was
people.
The thing about cruise ships is like, a lot of people, we talk a lot about like the Titanic and stuff like that. We have this image in our mind of how big the Titanic was, and because of the name, it makes it sound like it was big. But the Titanic is nothing compared to some of these new cruise ships that you see.
Mega ships, yeah, they are.
Yeah,
crazy.
like I saw them in Malaga, and I saw them when I was over in Denmark. And I went on I was in Denmark, and I went to go and check out the world's largest container ship, because a friend of mine was going to invest in Maersk. So we went over, and this was like its first stop on its sort of tour. And I couldn't believe the size of that thing. And when I got up to the top deck of that, I was looking down on those mega ships, and I was looking down on the skyscrapers or whatever, the tall buildings in the city. I couldn't believe how big those ships are. So like, when you're on there, do you feel any of the waves at all because of the size, or do you have any rough nights when you were there, or
some rough nights, but possibly to do with the crew parties instead of the rocking of the ship, to be honest. So they've got really good stabilizers, and obviously they're so big, you don't really notice it at all. The only times I've noticed it is when I do crossings. So the most frequent crossing I did was Miami to Tenerife. So you're obviously going over such a big expanse of water. There's such deep water as well. So you can feel it more there. And there was definitely one day that I had in like the 5 years that I did it, where things were knocked off my desk just for the movement of the ship. But other than that, I didn't feel a thing. And most guests don't either, so.
And this is going to be this is probably going to be like a very boy question. But were there ever any pirates like trying to, come and take you on? Or do you ever see any action?
So luckily, no, I didn't see any pirates. You'd always have the joke at like, you'd be maybe like in the Caribbean, and someone would have the binoculars and be like, what's that? Is it a pirate ship? 9 times out of 10, no, it's definitely not. You tend to get pirates like around the Horn of Africa, if you've seen like the Captain Phillips film, that kind of thing.
Look at me,
which is
I am the captain now.
So it's not really where you'd go with a cruise ship with guests on board, and we wouldn't have the kind of money on board that like cargo ships that are holding like goods worth millions and millions of pounds. Like on a cruise ship, you'd have to like try and corral 5,000 people to do what you want to do. They'd never go for a cruise ship.
No.
But
that's good though. That's great.
Yeah, thank God. Because maybe I'd have a lot more interesting stories to say than than I felt a bit funny one night.
Get back out there.
I know, exactly. But no, I was very lucky.
Did you ever go to Venice when you were on the cruise ships?
No, I didn't manage to do Venice. A couple of my friends have done Venice. Round the Med, I mainly did places like Greece. So one of my favorite things to do on board, because I'd work with like 84 different nationalities, so many different people who all spoke English, and I'm there like, I feel
thanks
horrible.
guys. Cheers.
Thank you so much for putting all this effort in. You know my language fluently, and I don't even know how to say hi to you.
We do feel guilty about that. Like some of us, like we feel bad about it. We're just not good at it. We're on an island. Sorry, like we can't,
it's hard to learn a language, isn't it?
We try at school, but because we're not surrounded from people,
a young age, like a lot of people are. But my favorite thing to do was to try and so everyone I'd meet, I'd ask them to teach me how to say thank you in their language. And so I managed to rock up eventually like 40 different thank yous. It was just remembering which one was which and who I was going to say it to. So that was difficult, and it's been a couple of years since I've done it, but I can say thank you in maybe about 20 different languages still. My Greek is okay, it's passable, and my Tagalog, which is like Philippines, I can say like hey, how are you? Good morning, you know, very simple things. And I think that was really fun, and I'd love to get back to that.
Yeah.
And I think that's nice for, it's a nice little thing for doing this job as well, because if I've not been to that destination that you're after, I probably know someone that's lived there or has been there.
Mm. And
And so many
they've spoken to
people,
you about it.
yeah,
And
it's
so they've
really
given you like
nice.
the tips and the hints of, oh, avoid this place, or go to this place, or check out this
Yeah,
restaurant, or
exactly.
yeah.
So me and my partner recently in November went to Krakow, and I'd
In
never
Poland.
been, didn't know, yeah, in Poland. I had never been, didn't know anything about it. I was starting to look into it, and one of my friends messaged me, who is American Polish, and she said, "Oh, I lived there for like 6 years. You know, here are some great places to go visit." And it was
Yeah.
places that I didn't find on any of the tourist sites. Like there was a music university in Krakow that had like a little cafe on top of it that you'd see incredible views. I'd not seen this place anywhere on any website when I was doing my
Mm.
research, but we managed to go and see this incredibly beautiful university and the views from it because we had some local knowledge. So it just adds that
you
extra
you just
element.
can't beat local knowledge. You
I
can't.
know.
I'm sort of similar to you in the way that like I connect a lot with foreign people or people from abroad. So I've got very dear friends in Spain. Big
Yeah.
shout out to Curro and Lucy, and you know, all the other guys. So I spend or have spent a lot of time down in Granada, Malaga, and Marbella, and you know that those have been some of the best times that I've had because I've been with those guys and they've had
Yeah.
that local knowledge and they've taken me to, you know, where they would go or where their family would
Yeah.
go. And you know, that's really cool. You don't get that sort of experience from I mean, even from like a review site or like you know, a brochure or a travel company. They don't always have that in-depth knowledge that you can get from
Exactly.
locals.
And
Yeah.
you'd like to immerse yourself in the culture sometimes because it's such a different life to what you're living. Like even just in places in Europe, like Spain, for example, the siesta time where everything
Mm.
seems to close for that like couple of hours around lunchtime, and it's
Yeah.
tapas galore, and you know, like
Yeah,
all these
especially
different
down in the
things.
south. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because like you don't tend to like you can order tapas like anywhere in Spain, but down in the south, in like round Granada and Andalusia, every time you buy a drink, you get a free bit of tapas. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. I think I'm gonna
Yeah,
have
you have
to
to go. Yeah,
organize my
you have to
next
go.
holiday for there,
So
maybe.
yeah, so if you go to Granada and like the surrounding areas where the Sierra Nevada mountains are, like if you
Yeah.
go around there, any time you buy a drink, they'll give you like a little piece of like bread and ham and cheese, or it might be like some
Oh
sort of little
yeah,
chicken
so
wings or a
good.
small pizza or like a lamb sandwich. It's like really varied. And they, you know, they won't give you the same thing every time. So you could sit there and you could have like 3 or 4 drinks and you've had 3 or 4 small
But
dishes with
yeah,
the, yeah, it's like
oh, that's
it's
so good.
amazing.
It's,
Yeah,
I
so
think
good.
it's those kinds of things that you only learn by talking to people and finding
Yeah.
out what you can, because
Or finding them by accident as well.
yeah, because there's no way that you'd think to Google before you go like on holiday, will I get free tapas with my beer? Do you know,
Yeah,
like
no,
you'd
no.
only find that out if someone's
If
told
you've
you
been there.
or it happens in front of you. So
Yeah.
it's really nice to learn about all these different things.
Naomi and I went to Venice like just before the girls were born, and we did like a whole tour of Italy in, I think it was
Yeah.
2018. So we started off in Rome and hired a car, and we went up to go and see some friends that we have in what's it called now? Near Milan, near that
Okay, yeah.
area. We did the Leaning Tower of Pisa,
Oh
and
yeah.
then
Did you have
we
the
carried
picture
on up.
like?
Yeah, obviously, definitely, many pictures like that.
Yeah.
And then we went up to Lake Garda,
Oh,
because I'd been there
nice. Oh, it's
before.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, and then from there we went to Venice, and so we stayed the night in Venice, and then we were walking the streets. And Venice is a bit like a maze if you haven't been there.
Yeah.
The streets are narrow and kind of, especially if you've had a few drinks, you can end up walking down the same street 10 times. You don't know where you've been. And we came across this little bar, and we thought, oh, this looks all right. And it kind of had that like Tash or Scrooge's vibe like to it. So I was
like the little rock indie alternative kind of style.
Yeah, so we went in, and it was actually, when we went there, it was their carnival, or
very nice.
their festival time. That was by accident. Like we didn't do that on purpose. That was just a pure accident. We went there, and it was that time of the year. And then we stumbled across this bar, and we went in, and on the top of the bar, they had all of these like amazing foods. So you could just stand there and you can order like a couple of chicken wings, or like different, Italian like rice in the vines, and all sorts of different things.
Oh, that's amazing.
And they had like Aperol on tap, just Aperol kept coming, Aperol spritz. And people would come over and they say, how did you find this place? And these are locals, and we were like, oh, we just stumbled across it. And this guy came over. He was dressed like a wizard, and he said this is the best place in Venice, and it's a very well kept secret. Like, you're very lucky
that's
to find this place.
amazing.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and welcome to our Dungeons and Dragons tournament.
Yeah. He was dressed like a wizard because of the carnival thing. So he had his mask off, but he was like a grey bearded man, and he was dressed in like a big old black cape.
Oh, that's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, we're very lucky that, because my family's into travel as well. So I'm planning, I've already kind of majorly planned my trip to Japan, doing a 17-day tour around Japan for cherry blossom season. Hopefully, touch wood, going in March if it all goes to plan. And my sister's lived there for 6 years. So
no way. That's
she's
awesome.
been able to tell us incredible places. So, for example, there's a dish called okonomiyaki that was made in Hiroshima, and it's like kind of like loads of chopped up pancake with loads of different things inside it, but it's like a real skill to make this dish. And she said, oh, my friend's granddad has like an okonomiyaki shop from his living room. You'll never be able to find it on your own. You'd never be able to like find it if we took a picture of the outside, because it's the same as everywhere. But she's going to organise with us to meet up with her friend to take us to her granddad's house and eat traditional okonomiyaki. And we'd never be able to experience that otherwise. So I love the travel community. Yeah.
Travel is just the best, isn't it? Like, before I met you, I lived in Burnley.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I know. As a young kid, from like 11 till 18 or something like that.
Yeah.
And everybody that I interacted with there was, you kind of get this like vibe that outsiders are bad, or we hate the French, we hate the Germans. You have that kind of like attitude, and I was lucky that I was an outsider and I wasn't part of that.
Yeah.
And then I just wanted to leave, and I just wanted to go, and then travel really only started for me in 2004. And I went to Italy. I went to Lake Garda. I actually kind of went for free, which is wow. Yeah. So a friend of mine at the time, he and his fiance broke up. So he had they had this holiday booked. And,
sorry, but thanks.
Yeah, sorry, thanks. So he had this holiday booked, and so he just changed the name from her name to my name. And I was fortunate to go there, but everybody in the hotel thought that we were a gay couple. But I was fine with that. I was like, yeah, that's fine, no worries. So yeah, we had a great time. That was 2 weeks in Lake Garda, and we did like a
absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, day tour out to Venice as well from there. So nice, swimming in the lake every day. There was bicycles at the hotel, so you just cycling around the area. So that's really, after that's when I got the bug. Like when I was there, I thought, wow, this is so beautiful. Like I need to see more. Yeah, and then after that, I went to Barcelona by myself. My girlfriend at the time didn't want to go, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going.
That's crazy. Yeah, Barcelona as well.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, I got really lost. That was in 2006, and I went over there, and I just booked a flight, booked a hostel, and stayed in that place. And I was walking around Las Ramblas, went to the markets, taking pictures.
Yeah.
I ended up in this. I ended up a bit off the beaten track, and I think I wandered into a bit of a dodgy area where there was ladies of the night. Only they were out during the day.
Yeah.
And they were like whistling, and I was like, where am I now? So I managed to get back onto Las Ramblas, but then I had no idea where the hostel was.
Yeah.
I didn't speak a scrap of Spanish. This is how unprepared I was. I didn't even know that Barcelona had a beach.
Oh my God. Right. Okay. You didn't know much about Barcelona then.
No, not at all. So I only thought it was just like a Spanish city, and it'd be great.
Yeah.
When I went there, I never saw the beach. It's terrible.
That's such a shame, because they've actually got really nice beaches.
I know, I messed up. I'll have to go back. But they have that. Is that where that really complex church is that they're still?
Yes, the Sagrada Familia. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. That was great. And in the hostel, I made friends with two German girls and an American girl and a Canadian guy. And I'm still in touch with the American girl and the Canadian guy to this day.
That's so nice, isn't it? Yeah.
And that Canadian guy, he was on the podcast last season, Charles Simpson.
My God. Oh, this is the one that you said you met when you were so young, and now he's like running for Senate or something.
Yeah.
Is that the guy?
Yeah, he's a madman. So when he was over there in Barcelona, he had this like cut on his face, and he kept like holding tissue to it like this. So he'd be drinking, and he was holding it. I was like, what is going on with you? What's the story behind that? And he'd been to a different part of Spain, just traveling around.
Okay.
And he got into a fight with some local kids, and he ran away. And he ran down an alleyway, and there was loads of fluorescent tubes there, and they picked up the fluorescent tube and they whacked him around the face with it, and he got glass in his face.
Oh my God.
And he told me last time I spoke with him that he, unbeknownst to him, and even like he had it checked by doctors and stuff, almost 10 years later, a piece of glass started to make its way out of his face, and it was still in there, and nobody had spotted it. Yeah,
oh God, so like crazy.
So he recently like had that pulled out and stitched up again and all sorted, but madness.
The memories you can make and the scars you can get.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that is probably not a good advertisement for Barcelona. Sorry, team.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
I mean, if anything, I'm very lucky in the fact that, touch wood, I've never broken a bone, never had any injuries. But when I was volunteering in South Africa, one of my friends that I was working with actually did end up getting attacked by a cheetah. And he will have those scars and that story for the rest of his life. And that will be absolutely crazy. Like, I was very lucky. I was collecting water and no way near at the time. But the screams will stay.
I've got an odd story about South Africa, not directly related to me, but to somebody who used to be a friend of mine. And there was this guy, I'm not going to say his name, right? So anyway, he was at uni in Loughborough, and he was going out with this girl, and I think she broke up with him, and she went to South Africa to go and work on a giraffe
like conservation type thing,
conservation area. Yeah. So she's going to do that. And he got it into his head randomly that he would go over there, follow her, like go and get her back.
Very romantic. Okay, yeah.
Very, very romantic. And he took some malaria medicine, anti-malaria medicine, and apparently it was a cheap one that can sometimes cause issues. So by the time he got over there, he kind of lost his faculties a little bit, and he got lost in the sort of the wilderness of South Africa.
Oh my God.
Then his family went looking for him, and they went over to South Africa, and they were on the national news over there, saying, has anybody seen our son? So there was this manhunt looking for him. And he told me that he went out into like where the long grass is, and he said that he was acting like an animal, that he was like thinking he was a lion himself, and some guy was like looking for him, and then he jumped up and he attacked this guy and he bit him, and then all of these South African guys came and they beat him, and they took him to the hospital. And they had him in the hospital for days, and he finally managed to escape again, and he ran away again. And then the police eventually found him and brought him back. And he was never the same since that event. And that was
I can imagine.
early 2000s. And he was okay, like he's got a good job, but then every couple of years, like if something like upset him, or it was some relationship with a girl was not going very well, the same sort of thing would happen again. He'd go a bit feral. He'd go a bit funny.
So bizarre, isn't it? Oh my. Okay,
yeah.
Don't do drugs, kids.
No. Well, he probably had something underlying anyway.
And then it was exacerbated by this dodgy, cheap malaria tablet. That's
or by the stress or something like that.
Yeah.
So
God, that's horrible.
This culminated in, we haven't said any names, so nobody's getting sued. But basically, this culminated in he had a new fiance and they were settled down, and then things weren't going too well. And he was worried about her, and she was a horse rider, and she would do look after this horse and whatever. One night he went to where the horse was, and he was worried that the horse was going to hurt her, so he stabbed it to death.
Oh, is this a true story?
This is a true story, and he killed the horse. God. and he went to court, and the judge was just like, it's all right, just don't do it again. You're not allowed to have any animals for a year.
Oh my God, if someone came near my dogs, that's it. Like,
so,
that's.
But I think he's a lot better now. He did go missing in Wales at one point. This was before that horse incident. Again, randomly went into the wilderness, ended up walking onto the SAS base up in Wales. Tried to get onto the base, and they were like
he goes into this zone where he's just like, where is the biggest danger I can head towards, and then and then runs for it. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, so try to get onto the military base, and he had some ID that potentially might have let him get on there. And when the gateman, the guardsman, was like, hang on a minute, you're that guy like everybody's looking for, come here. I grabbed him, took him to a sanitarium or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
God, this could actually make a TV show, a film or something, couldn't it? My God, that's,
So, some interesting friends. But that's my South African story.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, I've never gotten lost in the wilderness anywhere. I think it's probably why I'm good at this job, because I like to plan everything so much that, like for this Japan itinerary, for example, there's so many things to do in Japan, and 17 days is not enough to do it in.
No.
So we have been whittling down the list to make sure that we can fit in the key things that we want to, still having some free time to like adventure and wander around of our own devices, but that we can plan everything in so that we can definitely hit it. So like Nintendo World and Pokemon Center and stuff, there's no way I want to miss those things. So
have you seen James May, Our Man in Japan on Amazon?
No, I've not.
You need to watch that series. Right, they have a penis festival.
Yes, they do. It's the fertility festival. Like everywhere in Asia has it. It's
There's like giant penises like on the podium. He's trying to carry it like made out of wood, and he's like really struggling, and he has to get one of the crew to come and help him and take this thing.
I mean, that's
you need to watch
an experience, isn't it? Well, there's a really good Paul Hollywood from the Great British Bake Off, so he did Paul Hollywood Eats Japan. And
I think I've seen that. I'm going to watch that soon.
Yeah, it's so good. So me and my partner, if we can afford it, we'll try and fit in like a Michelin star restaurant of up abroad. We've never been to one in the UK so far, but generally they can work out cheaper abroad. So we did one in Krakow that was like half the price of what you'd find in the UK. And we were watching Paul Hollywood Eats Japan, and he was in Tokyo, and he was saying how it is the most expensive place in the world to eat, to live, to drink, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, there's no way we're going to go to anywhere there. Like, we'll be getting like 7-Eleven sandwiches every day. We're just going to have to like toe the bread line and make sure we can just do everything we want without
just
getting
hit all
skint.
the vending machines.
Yeah. And anyway, and he said, and this like ramen restaurant is like Michelin star. It has queues for miles, you know, it's so unbelievably popular. And he said it's one of the more affordable Michelin stars. And I was like, oh, I wonder how much it is. Now you can only go there, you can't book, you have to walk in. There'll be a queue for at least an hour. You can only have one bowl of ramen and then you're asked to leave because they need to make sure they can feed everyone else. It's so unbelievably busy, and it costs less than £10.
Oh, okay.
So I was
amazing.
like, oh my God, I'm going to queue for a day to get in that place. Michelin star ramen. Oh, it's going to be amazing. So
wow, that's good. I thought you were going to twist it on the end and say it's only £100 a bowl.
No,
like, but actually
I think
under 10
it's
quid.
£7 to £8 for a bowl of ramen, depending on obviously the exchange rate at the time. But it's about £7 or £8 at the moment for a bowl of Michelin star ramen, and that's
so
I'm a
nice.
foodie, so that is good.
So yeah, I also I love sushi and sashimi. And you know, whenever I go to Manchester, I'll go to not Yo Sushi, I go to what's the other place called? Wasabi. Have you ever been there?
Yeah.
In the Printworks, and there's one on the edge of Chinatown. There's two wasabi restaurants there. And it's sort of the same as Yo Sushi, but I just feel like you get kind of more for your money when you go to Wasabi.
We're quite lucky because my sister's back now, so she has been making us a lot of katsu curry, and she's going to teach us how to make our own sushi katsu at some
curry.
point.
That's my favorite.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
You'll have to come round.
That's my favorite flavor. But I'm so far away from you now. Like
I know.
Yeah.
It's a shame, isn't it, that it's been so long and now there's such distance as well.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right. You know, we can do this. It's fine. So if you could swim with dolphins or go shark diving, what would you do?
For me personally, I'd probably go diving with sharks. I feel like swimming with dolphins can, you know, if you're in the enclosures and stuff. I don't know if you've seen that thing at SeaWorld, that documentary, I can't remember, Blackfish. Is it? I just feel so horrific about being horrible to animals now that I'm like, I try and do things that aren't watching the animals in their own habitat rather than taking them into an enclosure and dealing with them that way. It sounds horrific because I know a lot of people really want to swim with dolphins at like Florida and Disneyland and that, but
I was watching Practical Jokers last night. Do you ever see Practical Jokers?
Yes, yeah.
It's so good. As a punishment, they got Murr to go into a cage, and he was surrounded by sharks, and they took his passport and they put his passport in like a little box, and it was at the bottom of the cage, and so he had to dive down, and he's freaking out, he's terrified of sharks, and they were like, get down there. And then when he was down there, they released the cage so that it was like
so he's gone
20
out.
feet away from the boat, so he was just like, pull me back.
I think it'd be so interesting. I mean, a lot of stuff scares me, like heights and things like that, but I also am a bit of an adrenaline junkie. So if I can if someone can give me that little push, maybe I might need the little push first, and then I'll do it and I'll absolutely love it. And I think swimming with sharks would be one of those experiences for definite. It's like, I really want to go like skydiving as well.
Oh yeah, Naomi did that. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I think I'd need someone to drag me up there. Yeah. Definitely.
And do the tandem jump with like a professional.
God, yeah. I'd never be able to do one without, like, I can imagine the jelly that my legs would turn into already. But I know that as soon as I landed, I'd be like, that was incredible.
It's frightening just thinking about it. Like she said that when you're coming down, it doesn't feel like you're falling, because you have all the air coming up at you. I've done indoor skydiving in Manchester. Have you tried that?
I've not yet, but we want to go there
That's
because they
really
do
good.
the indoor skiing as well, don't they?
Yeah. I did
Yeah.
snowboarding. Was it snowboarding? Yeah, I did. I did snowboarding for my birthday a couple of years ago there. It was really, really good.
Oh, yeah,
It's a
I'd love
lot of fun.
to. My partner's been skiing since he was so young. So, I mean, he got into a really bad ski accident. So he's probably about as good as me, who's never skied now.
Yeah.
But we've said that if we can build ourselves up together skiing, then we'll do a ski trip at some point as well.
You should go there and do that. Like it's honestly, it's really, really similar to the real thing. It's very cold inside, like it's real snow, like that they've made, snow and ice.
Yeah.
It has the track that you hold on to and it pulls you up to
Oh,
the
that would be so
top.
good.
Yeah, you've got to go. It's so cool.
I really
And
want to.
That's the big slanty building just near the
Yes,
Trafford
yeah,
Centre.
Chill Factor, isn't it? Yeah, I think.
Chill Factor, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
so
I've
good.
been so many places in the world, but I've never really done cold places. So even when I
Okay.
went to Alaska, it was like their summer. So I'd gone with like the big coat and everything, thinking it'd be absolutely freezing. And we
And it
did
was
manage to
fine.
go up to some glaciers, but it was still fairly warm. It wasn't no different to like the UK, like mid-season kind of thing, like,
Yeah.
like spring or autumn. So I was
I went
really
to
surprised.
I went to Latvia in February 2002,
Yeah.
something like that. So that was pretty cold, and it
You've
was
got
like
good memory
creeping
for
up
dates.
-20
Oh
something.
my
And
God. Yeah.
I've been back a few times, and been to I got Latvian friends over there, and we went over and it was with my mate Einars, and he said, "Oh, we're going to go to a banya," and a banya is like a Russian sauna.
Oh,
So
nice. Okay.
his friend had this sauna, like out the back of his house, but not like a small sauna. We're
Yeah.
talking like a whole like changing room area,
Yeah.
um, place for massages, and then
Oh, that's
the actual
incredible.
sauna. So go in there, and then there's like, I don't know, 5 or 6 dudes that I've never met before, all fully naked, and I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
I've got this like button mushroom. These are all hanging dong. I'm just not used to this at all. So it's like, I'll just let the mushroom out for an evening, and they've got like a platter of meats, right, and stuff like
Of
that,
course.
and vodka,
Of
and some black
course.
bread. So we're having some food, having shots of vodka, and then one by one they're going in to lie on this table, right? So I'm like, what are they doing in there? So it's my turn to go in there, and the guy, one of the guys I'm with, he's like, okay, you lie down on table, and I'm thinking, oh no, what's gonna happen now? He gets this little leather cap, this little leather hat, and he puts this little leather hat on. It looks like a bit like a fedora, right?
Okay.
Something like that, but without the rim. So he puts this little leather hat on, and he gets these branches, birch tree
Oh my God.
branches with leaves,
Oh no.
full of leaves on it, and he dips it in a cold bucket of water, and then he puts it over the hot coals,
Yeah.
and then he sprinkles like the hot water on me, and he
Yeah.
starts beating me with the reeds, like beating me. He's like, this is very good massage, and I'm like, yeah.
And you're like, it's
And
not quite as good as the ones I've had before, but okay.
yeah. But I tell you what, like after like 10-15 minutes, whatever it was, both sides on the feet as well, hot and
Oh my
cold water,
God. Yeah.
and the reeds, I was so relaxed. But we drank so much vodka, like it was insane. And then we'd be in there, like we'd get really, really hot, and he'd say, right now, let's go out into the snow. So you go
Oh my
out,
God.
roll
Yeah.
around in the snow, come back in, and start again with the drinking. Oh,
I mean, it's
good
hard to
times.
tell what relaxed you, the beating or the alcohol.
Yeah.
Like out of the two, I'm trying to work out which one I'd prefer.
Yeah.
It's a
The
hard choice,
vodka.
obviously, but
Oh, and they have their own vodka in Riga, and it's called Riga Black Balsam, and it's
Yeah, I
kind
think
of,
I've heard of
have you
Riga.
had that?
Yeah, Riga vodka.
So
Yeah.
it's like really thick, like thick black kind of, it goes well with hot blackcurrant juice.
Okay.
Yeah, so like not cordial, but
Yeah.
like a crushed blackcurrant juice. You
Yeah.
don't really get that here, but they have it over there. So you warm that up in a pan, and then you add the Riga Black Balsam, and that's like sort of a medicinal drink, like keep you going throughout the winter.
Yeah, it's
Um,
quite interesting because a lot of the countries like Eastern Europe, like Poland, for example, when we're in Krakow, they had a similar one but with like crushed cherries in vodka.
okay, yeah.
So they must all have like their own take on it, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so. That with their own, their own herbs or whatever was available at the
Yeah,
time, they make different things. Yeah. So the last time I was over in Latvia, this is around about 2016.
yeah.
Um, I was uh, I was over there with the same group of friends. So that particular trip that I told you about with the beating, that was 2007. So 2016, I'm back over with these guys, and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna go on a night out. We were doing a bit of business over there as well, and they were like, okay, we're gonna go to this place and see what this is about. And I'm like, where are we going? Thinking it's a nightclub or something. It looks like a nightclub from the
Yeah.
outside, but it's like the NEC in Birmingham, right? Something like
Okay, yeah.
that big,
That
right? So it's
size,
like
yeah.
that sort of warehouse style thing. And I'm like, where are you taking me now? So we go into this thing, pay like 5-10 lats or euros or whatever it was, and I'm going through, and they have posters on the walls, and I'm like, like not posters, but massive graphics, like you'd
Oh,
find in an
yeah.
airport, and you're
Yeah.
walking through, and they're all black and white and seductive, and like naked ladies and guys, and then I come
Like,
out into,
okay.
yeah, come around a corner into this arena,
Yeah.
and the arena is full of stalls, and it looks like an indoor marketplace, only
Okay.
everything is selling whips and sex toys
Oh my
and
God.
dolls and
Do
everything
you
you can
think that
think
they
of.
might
Like,
have a fetish?
yes, I think so. And there was also a stage as well with live performances going on,
Oh my God, that's
and there was a
crazy, isn't
bar,
it?
and I was like, what have you brought me to? Like, you just couldn't get this in the UK. Like, this is madness.
Yeah,
But
it's really interesting, isn't it? The different
the
things that you can
culture is
find around
so
the
different.
world. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, even like, so when I was working on the ships, we'd do charter cruises every so often. So like one particular company might book out the entire cruise ship um, for only their guests to come on board. So we've had like companies doing it for their like annual treat for their workers, that kind of thing, like the makeup
Nice.
companies, that kind of thing. Um, and we had one that was called the Friendship Cruise, and it was like a drum and bass kind of, like we had like 50, 60 DJs come on, like world champion beatboxers, all things like this. But they also had Dita Von Teese come on as well to
Okay.
perform. And it was such a crazy little mishmash of things that was going on. Um, and then we've had like the cruises where they have like the bondage shows and teaching people about that. So many different, yeah, crazy, like the amount of variety that you get on board is just insane. But it's so interesting, and especially like how liberal a lot of places are.
Yeah.
I think that
Or
makes it
like
even
you would,
more interesting to go to.
yeah, or it's like you would perceive a place sort of, on the east of Europe, where it's like Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia. You think, those places are going to be like strict, like ex-Soviet,
Yeah.
blocks. And then you go out into the nightlife, and you're like, what is this?
You're like a deer in
Like,
headlights, like, oh my God,
yeah.
this is not what I expected.
Yeah, yeah. So after that was the beginning of the night. Like, that wasn't even the end of the night. After that, then we were like, oh, that was good. Like, let's go out into Riga. And then the night carried on, and we went to loads of different bars, and it was just
Yeah.
pure vodka shot after vodka shot. Like,
Yeah.
just that's it. Just keep going with the vodka. And I think, I did all right, but I think that's only because it's stuck on the one thing. You know, if I mixed and went on different, you know, if I had beer or anything like that, I would have been ruined.
It messes it up a bit too much, doesn't it?
Yeah. But they're like, they have like caviar and stuff like that with the vodka.
With the vodka,
yeah, that was like the pre-drinks, and you know, we had like some snacks before we went out, and caviar and stuff like that. And that's something that I never thought I would ever try. You know, you just think, oh, fish eggs, or I'm not sure, but goes great.
Especially not
great
like a Blackpool party.
Yeah.
Do you want some caviar with that vodka?
Yeah, Blackpool is like, I don't know, how would you describe Blackpool? What do you think?
I don't think any words I've got would be appropriate.
It gets, it's getting better, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting better. I think it does get a really bad rep. I think for people that obviously come visit here, it's so different. Like my cousins are from like a little bit further inland. They're from the Peak District essentially. So for them to come to somewhere that has a seaside, a beach, you can see the ocean and green parks and things like that. It's really, and really like, nice and different.
And theme parks and like loads of attractions and things to do. Like it's a great place for tourists. But if you live there, especially out of season, it's a struggle. Like it's a struggle.
It can be really hard for people. Like if you do have a seasonal job, like I've had seasonal jobs in the past when I was younger, working at places like Madame Tussauds, and it was so difficult because you'd be working like a dog for the summer season, and then suddenly it's like I might not have a job for the next 6 months until the season
there's no
again.
income for 6 months of the year.
It's really difficult for people, but it's got so many sides to it. So it's got like the family friendly side where you've got the theme parks, the attractions, the piers, walking like up and down the prom and seeing the donkeys and things like that.
And you've got the huge LGBTQ community, like that section as well, with what's that place called, Funny Girls and stuff like that, with all those shows. They're so popular.
So it's actually really nice because the company I used to work for was one of the biggest like sponsors of Blackpool Pride. And so I worked very closely with Blackpool Pride and places like Funny Girls, which was really, really nice to do as a massive ally myself. And what we ended up creating, I don't think I've actually ever mentioned this to you before, but this was when I was working in travel still. I was one of the people alongside my boss who helped like bring up his idea of making a very openly friendly LGBTQ tour operator. So I think it's the first one in the UK. It's called Chili Mix, and it was obviously his brainchild. He put all the work into it, and I created all the content on their website. So research all the destinations on where was friendly, what was good to do there for the LGBTQ community, like where the best bars, restaurants, where the best accommodation was, all this kind of stuff. And it was that opened up my eyes a lot more, because obviously there's some places it's not safe to travel still for the LGBT community. And that was a really fun experience to work on that for like a good couple months, piecing that together. So it's fully up and running now, and I've got full access to that still, which is brilliant.
So there's a even in Europe, in some places it's not great. You know, it can be a bit tricky, especially the further east you go. So it's good that you've got that database. You can help, you know, LGBTQ people find a nice place to go on holiday as well. And
you'd be surprised at like how many places you can go to if you go to the right area in it, you know. So like there's places like Barcelona that's so openly friendly, and it's brilliant. They've got a great, it's called the Example, well, probably with a much better Spanish accent than I say it, but it's called like the Example District in Barcelona for the gay area, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Like the rooftop bars, that kind of thing, looking out over all of Barcelona.
The Spanish are so friendly, aren't they? They just
really
do everything. Like they know how to love life. That's you know, that's so good, and that's something that I'm learning about the French as well. You know, like it's illegal for your boss to email you outside of work hours and like on the weekend.
Oh my
It's
God, let's
illegal for
go.
you not, it's illegal for you to have your lunch at your desk. You have to go out and have a proper lunch. Like, you know, those are the kind of rules and laws that we need here. Like, there's so many days where I'm not talking about myself, but I see my colleagues work through their lunch, or they'll like have a sandwich and they're still working, they're still answering questions. They never get a proper break. You know, and we need a better sort of a shift towards a life work balance, not a work life balance. Like, we need to focus on having that life and having that comfort and making sure that everybody's feeling okay.
I think that's exactly why I went into travel, really, because rather than being like, if I was still stuck in accounts, finding it quite boring and just working every single day of my life to get that 2 weeks holiday at the end of the year, you know, I didn't want that in life. I wanted to be able to bring something that I'm passionate about and enjoy into my working life so that it's not monotonous to do.
Yes,
so
it's not a grind. Like, so you're not counting down the days to get to
the next break. So it's, I mean, my partner Care is probably sick of it, because every time someone comes to me with a holiday request, I'm like, oh, they're going here, that sounds amazing, we need to go. And he's like, oh, let's get the next holiday out the way first, Rach. But because I'm excited about the location someone's picked, I'm then creating a better itinerary for them, because I'm like, this place is incredible for these reasons, you have to see this. Like, obviously they've got the option, it might not be exactly what they're after, like the adventure that I would plan for them, but after discussing it with them, I can go, these are some of the top highlights of this destination, you've got an option to pick it or not, kind of thing. So it's nice to be so interested in what someone's asking for that I can.
You're so passionate about this, like that really comes across.
That's really nice. I remember when I first interviewed for the travel agency that I worked for, the guy the guy that interviewed me was just like, oh my God, I don't think you'll ever leave travel, will you? I was like, I can't imagine ever doing it. I really do love it so much. I want to help people get on adventures. It just makes life better.
Yeah, it does. And it opens up like a world of possibilities. You know, I've learned so much from all of the people that I've interacted with everywhere that I've traveled, and made so many friends around the world, like Mexico, Italy, Latvia, you know, Spain, France. Like, I've, you know, to go there and to enjoy those foods, listen to those musics, meet those people, and, you know, build those relationships. Those are friendships that you have forever. Like, that's what I get out of travel. That, like, I've been somewhere, I've had that experience, but it's like the human connection that you pick up.
It makes it 10 times better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's I've made some incredible friends, and the ones that I've made from abroad, we tend to meet each other abroad as well. So it's like a nice excuse for a holiday then as well, isn't it?
So I've got should we do a quick fire round?
Oh yeah, I'll see how well I do in this. Okay.
So I think we've already got the answer to this. What place is top of your bucket list? It's Japan, right?
Japan for now.
Yeah.
Until I go in a couple months. Oh God, the list is endless. This will not be quick fire, this question, because I want to go to like Iceland and see the Northern Lights and everything. So there's a list, definitely.
Okay. What can't you travel without?
Oh God.
Say your boyfriend.
Yeah, my boyfriend.
Yeah. And apart from him, what else can't you travel without?
God, I don't know. I suppose my phone, because there's so many great apps. Like, if you ever go abroad to a country that doesn't really speak English very well, download the Google Translate app, download the language you've picked before you go, and you can literally hold the camera at writing and it will translate it on your screen for you. It's phenomenal.
Google's getting so good, and you can have a conversation with somebody through that as well,
through the mic as well.
So there's a microphone, you say what you're saying, and then it says it in their language, and then they say in their language, and it translates it into English. Genius.
It's such a good app. It's brilliant.
So do you prefer solo travel, or do you like going with somebody else?
It depends. I'm lucky with my partner because he likes the same things that I do. So if it's traveling with him, it's nice because we kind of want to go see the same things. Otherwise, on my own.
Okay. Machu Picchu or Angkor Wat?
Oh God, I think Machu Picchu. I've seen so many incredible like pictures of it that I'm very drawn to it.
I would like to go as well. So when you're away and you're traveling, who is the person at home that you miss the most?
If I'm traveling without my partner, it's my partner. Otherwise, it's my mum. I speak to my mum every single day.
That's cute. Let's have a look. So when you are on your travels,
Yeah.
what home comfort do you miss the most?
Oh, it sounds really silly. When I'd been at sea for so long, I remember going to San Juan in Puerto Rico and finding a park with grass, and I felt the grass underneath my feet for the first time in like 4 years, and I was like,
Yeah.
this is so good.
Yeah.
And cottage pie.
And cottage pie.
Yeah.
Nice. Yes. What has been the most interesting item of food that you've tasted?
Ooh. You know what? I think just because of what it was, when we were in Krakow and we did the Michelin star restaurant, everything there was so designed to just excite your brain as much as it could, that anything from there was incredible. But
Can you remember the name of that place so we can recommend it?
I'll have to write it in the comments as well, but it was called like Bottiglaria 1881. I've got the the business card for it in the kitchen.
We'll do that
so
later. We'll put
good.
it in the comments. Okay, so this question was, what food from your home country do you miss the most? But that's cottage pie.
Cottage pie. Oh.
Which country makes the best tea or coffee?
Now, I'm not a coffee drinker, so I won't be able to say on that one. The best hot chocolate I ever had was definitely Krakow, because it was basically just melted chocolate from this chocolatier. It was heavenly, absolutely amazing. The best tea, I've always, whenever I went abroad to sea, I'd always take Yorkshire tea with me because I just don't think you can beat it. But some places have done all right English breakfast tea. It's just nothing beats Yorkshire.
Yeah. God bless them.
I know, yeah. They did good there.
If you could only ever eat rice or potatoes, which would you pick?
God, that's really hard because I love mash, but I love sushi, and I'm about to go and eat a lot of sushi for like a good 3 weeks almost. I'd have to go with.
There's also chips as well, and roast potatoes, and cottage pie.
Oh, and cottage pie. I'd have to go with mash. I want mash for the rest of my life.
Who would win in a fight, a polar bear with a rifle or a shark with a laser gun?
Oh, well, polar bears can swim and go on land, so I'd have to go with polar bear.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. Yeah. Which country has the friendliest people?
Oh, that's really hard. You know what? The Philippines is, I don't think I've met anyone from the Philippines that I've not really enjoyed speaking to. They were so friendly and inclusive, and on the ships, the highest like denomination of people would be from the Philippines more often than not. And
they're world renowned for being nice, those people.
Yeah. They'd always invite me for like lunch with them, and they'd make me like loads of dishes, and you know, they were incredible. Yeah, the Filipinos.
Who is the most interesting person you've met so far?
Apart from you, getting brownie points here. Apart from you, my friend Lauren, you know, I think my friend Lauren that I met on the ships she started off as a care worker, and now she is like ship traffic control kind of, instead of air traffic control that everyone knows. But she was a first officer on the ships, so would like do the pulling the ships into port and like driving the ships, if you will. So I think she's probably the most interesting. She's had such a varied lifestyle and such good like all round knowledge of different things.
She sounds good.
Amazing person.
We need her on the podcast next.
Yeah. I'll link you two up because she's very interesting a person.
What has been your scariest moment?
The scariest moment, I touched on it briefly before. That's probably when my German friend, when I was working in South Africa, got attacked by the cheetah. That was, so I was filling up all of our water bottles after we'd been out feeding like all the cheetahs in the conservation, and I just heard, you know, the blood curdling scream that you hear in films that you never think you'd hear in real life, and I heard that and I was like, oh my God, is someone watching a film? What is this? Like, it drains your body. And we had a resident hunter that would always go around with us in case a wild animal came or anything like that and we needed protection. And he was a big guy, you know, he was like 6'4", but like stocky and built, and you would never think that he could run. And I saw him move faster than I've seen anyone move in my life. And he goes and he ends up carrying this guy Yannick like across his shoulders, and there's blood everywhere. And I was just like, he's dead. What the hell's happened? He's dead. And then because like they've had to pull him out of this enclosure with a cheetah who couldn't be released to the wild, unfortunately, she basically thought he was a play toy that day. She was in heat, you know, she was generally quite friendly, but it was a bad day. And but she'd then managed to get out because he'd just pulled out the injured guy.
Kind of forgot about the.
So then it's like, expletive, there's a cheetah around, I need to get in. So that was probably the scariest thing that's ever happened to me.
Oh my God.
And it didn't even happen to me, it happened to someone else.
That's good though.
It was fine.
That's a good story.
It was fine.
So toilets, squat or Western style?
Oh, Western style. Oh my God. You know what, guys? You will never understand how lucky you are to be able to pee wherever you want to pee. Like, it's such a privilege.
What was your most embarrassing moment when you've been abroad?
I mean, I did get really, really bad sunburn on my bum once, and couldn't sit down for like 2 weeks. So that was probably pretty embarrassing. Because
thanks for sharing.
Yeah, it was really rough. I've got an appropriate picture I can share because it's sunburnt back that was the same day. So you can just imagine that colour, but on my butt instead. And I looked like, you know, those lollipops that are like white and pink?
Yeah.
I looked like one of those. It was absolutely unbelievable. Yeah.
It's agony, isn't it? Like, it's worse at night for some reason when the heat starts to come out of your body.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
But not being able to sit down, that was rough.
How many different currencies have you got, like, lying around your house?
So I've predominantly used American, so dollars. I've definitely got euros and I've definitely got pounds. But other than that, I don't think I've got many currencies. I've got a few Polish zloty still, but I've got a friend that would collect coins from around the world. So if I didn't spend them, I'd end up giving them away to friends that collect them. Yeah.
What have you brought with you when you've gone away, but you ended up not using it? Like, you regret taking it with you?
Probably. The first time I joined a ship, I was told that like the crew cabins are so tiny that there'd be no room for like large like suitcases and things like that, and to bring anything that could like be kind of like rolled up, so like my backpack. And turned out that was a complete lie. I could definitely have room for my suitcase, but I was carrying everything for like 10 months worth of travel, and we're talking like I had to have evening gowns, you know, for like the evening chic nights and things like this, all my uniform. Obviously, being abroad, I was going across 2 different continents, so I had to have cold weather stuff and warm weather stuff. So I had a lot of stuff, and I had about 60 kilos that I'd carry on my back to get to the ship. I wouldn't have to carry it further than that. But when I realised I could have had a rolly suitcase, that was the hardest moment, like trying to lift it up onto the like luggage inspection places and things like that. That was brutal.
And What's the most useful item that you brought with you?
Probably portable charger, like the really tiny
Okay.
slim ones, because like I said, that my life is on my phone. It's got my itineraries,
Yeah.
the apps, like you can get these e-scooters that you just log in with an app and things
Yeah.
like that to go travel around and see more. So if you've got your phone, you need your portable charger as well, definitely.
I did I did a Segway tour when I was
Oh,
over in Malaga
nice.
last time. Amazing, so good. I wish that we were allowed to have those here.
It's so much fun, isn't it? It
Yeah,
really is.
and they don't take that long to get used to. I think they're
No.
pretty safe. I mean, it's just like the guy who invented it went off a cliff on one, so it's got a bad reputation.
Not quite as good, is
Whoops.
it? Yeah, my partner actually, because we were in Krakow and they had these e-scooters everywhere that you use the app for, but he was convinced that I would die on one. That
Yeah.
I'm very clumsy. I'm very, very clumsy. I don't get like really badly injured often, but I'm very clumsy. And he was like, if you go on an e-scooter before this Michelin star restaurant and we can't go, I will never forgive you. So I wasn't allowed on one until after we'd done the Michelin star restaurant.
He knows. He knows you.
Yeah, he knows
He's
me
looking out
well.
for you. What's the best piece of travel advice that you've ever received?
Just make sure you plan well. Like, get your insurance for definite, especially in this climate. You need to make sure that you buy in safe packages for your travel that can be refunded or used again if, touch wood, something happens because of COVID or anything.
Yeah.
But plan your time. A lot of people like going somewhere and just exploring, but I've done that before and then come away and someone's gone, oh my God, did you do this? It's the best thing in that destination. You
Yeah.
go,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't know that was there. No, I didn't do that. And it's just so
Yeah.
gutting. So even if you just plan out 4 things that you want to do on that break and make sure you do the top 4 things and then explore the rest of the time, great. But
Yeah,
definitely
even if it's
plan
just like one thing a day or something, at least then you've
exactly.
yeah. What's the worst piece of travel advice that you ever received?
Um, oh God, I don't know. I think I know such like well-traveled people. No one's ever told me bad advice, really. Um, I'll have to pass on that one. I don't think I've ever
Okay.
received bad travel advice.
Where would you most like to live in the world?
Before COVID hit, I was actually contemplating moving to North Carolina. Um,
Okay.
I've got a couple friends over there, and I'd gone over to visit, and I went to a couple hoedowns and like these crazy things that I'd never done before. Had such a fun time. Everyone was so friendly, and it was so like rural but close to the big cities as well. It was really beautiful. They had all the 4 seasons, and
Mm,
I think it would be there or Canada.
okay.
Canada
Canada's
has more
Canada's getting a bit
benefits
ropey
in,
with its laws now, though. So I would,
well,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, thank God I didn't, well, I won't get too political, but thank God I didn't move to the States when Trump was there, because that would have been hella interesting.
um, who would win in a fight? A panda with a dart gun or a kangaroo with nunchucks?
Oh God, a kangaroo, hands down. Have
Yeah.
you seen the pandas, how like, they're
Yeah.
just lazy, aren't they? They're like my
With
spirit
even
animal.
without the nunchucks, kangaroo,
Yeah, kangaroos
every
are
time.
like kickboxing champs, aren't they?
Have you seen that absolute tank of a kangaroo?
Yeah.
He's like ripped,
Have
like
you
looks
seen
like
the video of the
Bruce
guy
Lee.
boxing a kangaroo when it goes for
Yeah,
his
that
dog? Crazy.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah. That used kangaroo boxing used to be a thing a long time ago. Did you know that?
Oh my
That they
God,
would
no.
yeah, I don't know, 20s or 30s or something like that in
Yeah.
the States or around the world. They'd actually put gloves on the kangaroo, get him
Oh
in the
my God.
ring, and a guy would
They'd
fight the
annihilate
kangaroo.
someone if they could, though, wouldn't they? They
I
are
know. Without the
big.
gloves, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore, but you can search for that. um, what's your favorite travel childhood memory? So when you've been abroad when you're a kid.
Oh, we went on a big family holiday once to Tunisia, and I must have been about 8 years old. And we went with, so me, my mum, and my sister, and my stepdad, and then my uncle, aunt, and their 3 kids. I think my youngest cousin was born by that time, and it had one of those like it was all you can eat all the time. It was all
Mm,
inclusive. They had huge swimming pool with like the bar in the middle of the pool, and we'd swim up and be like, can I have a can of Coke, please? And, you know, obviously not drinking the vodka then. But it was just the best time. We had such a great holiday all together.
Just because everything was so available and free and easy and relaxed. Yeah, that's nice. When you go away, how do you document your trips? Like, are you blogging? Are you taking pictures? What do you do?
Yeah, so I've only just started doing this since I started kind of realizing that people actually do kind of want to see what you do when you're away and get advice. And since I've started the travel business, so me and my partner now take the GoPro everywhere, and we'll try and make a video of what the trip was like, what the best bits were, so that people can see it. And I'm starting to build a database of like things to do in each place that we've done, and can categorically say, yes, this was great. So we've got obviously the Facebook page, Wanderlust Travel with Rachel, Instagram. We're starting a YouTube channel as well. So once that's
your Instagram's just there. You can do a little point. Yeah, that's it. A little bit higher.
Wanderlust Travel with Rachel. But yeah, so we're starting to piece together all the online things. I'm going to try and get a website created as well with top tips of places to go. It'll have like the best bars, restaurants that we've done. And rather than it just, so when I worked on Chili Mix, I was researching everything and looking things up and saying where was great. But I want to build my own website with a database of places that I can guarantee are good, because I've been and have experienced it myself. So one day that will be full, but at the moment it will be a bit smaller.
Got to keep doing the lottery. Yeah,
I know, exactly.
That would make it happen really quick, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look. So there's a question here. I think I know the answer to this, but it says the sea, on it, in it, or stay on dry land.
Oh, well, definitely. I don't know, because actually on it, yes, because I remember swimming once in the Caribbean. I used to swim for Blackpool when I was very, very young. So I was once a very strong
It'll make
swimmer.
You fit that well. Yeah. Swimming in Blackpool Sea.
Oh no, yeah. I was once a very strong swimmer. I'm still okay. And I remember swimming out into the sea like, oh, this is glorious. But on the way back, the waves were hitting me in the face so much. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, it's so hard. So on the sea, definitely.
Yeah.
You can see so much more that way.
Yeah. So what's the weirdest thing that you've seen abroad?
Probably, I mean, I don't want to offend any different cultures, because obviously it's like a normal practice in some places, but the eating like the bugs and the scorpions and things like that.
Okay.
For me,
that was weird.
At a push, I would try like one little bit of something, but I don't think I could make that a routine. And if you research what balut is in the Philippines, it's like eating a fertilized egg raw, I think. Yeah.
No good.
That's not for me.
I think one of the weirdest things I saw, I was walking through Paris and I'm trying to get to the hotel, and I'm in the city center.
Yeah.
And there was a guy of like African origin, and he had like an overturned upside down shopping trolley. Okay. And he was cooking corn on the cob in the middle of the city center.
I mean, if you get hungry,
just on a makeshift barbecue. Yeah. It's like, that's weird.
Well done for being so proactive with his hunger. I like it.
Ingenious. What's the most interesting thing that you've learned whilst you've been away?
The most interesting thing I've learned, I don't know, because every time I think of what I've learned, it's been like languages wise, and I've learned some very handy phrases, but also some ridiculous phrases that I should not repeat anywhere.
Yeah. All the swear words are normally first, aren't they?
I can swear like a sailor, especially in Greece. But I think it's like, just speak a lot of the time. Like, I used to be so self-conscious and shy. I wouldn't want to speak to a stranger. But if you speak to the people that know about the local area, they can give you some incredible advice on where to go and what to see. So it's just to be a bit more confident and speak to people about what's around to do.
And what surprised you about yourself throughout your travel history? Yeah, what have you done that you thought, wow, man, I did that? Like,
I think it was that from what I was like as a young teenager when we probably first met, like I was not the most confident or outgoing person at all. And
really? I don't remember that. I
do you
remember
think
you always,
maybe
yeah,
that was
always
always
being,
drink?
yeah,
We'd
it
always
could
see
be,
each other
could
in the
be.
nightclub. Yeah.
Maybe that's just how you were feeling, but
Yeah.
on the outside you were coming across as super confident, because
Yeah,
that's, I'd
possibly.
always think that you were super confident and outgoing.
I mean, I talk a lot when I get nervous or excited, so
Okay.
it can, yeah, I talk a lot. But so when I first joined the ship, the interview that was set up for me was initially guest relations, so like
Yeah.
basically like hotel reception. That's all that was going, and you know, I had the accounts background, so I moved into finance on the ships, so it was quite good. And then the most bizarre thing happened. The cruise director and the entertainment staff were like, you need to be on stage. And I was like, there's no way I'm going on stage. I was like, okay, bye. Like, there's no way this is happening. That is not me at all. And it took them about 6 months to convince me to try it. But I ended up working for the entertainment team on board for the last couple of years that I was working there. And I'd be on stage like almost every night, introducing the shows and the singers in front of like 2,000 people. And that surprised me the most. I
Nice.
never thought I would do that in my life.
That's cool. That's very, very cool. If you wrote a novel, what would it be about?
Oh God. I mean, I love sci-fi fantasy, so I'd love to be able to write a sci-fi novel, but
Okay.
I don't know if I'd be able to, so it'd probably just be about crazy travel stories instead.
Okay. That's also cool. What did you love or hate the most about school?
Ooh, I was so nerdy. I loved algebra. Algebra was my absolute favorite thing.
That is very
And I
nerdy.
hated PE. I hated PE. I had a headache every PE lesson magically. Yeah.
Oh, I can't do PE today, sir. Ladies'
Yeah.
problems. Yeah, no
It
questions
was,
asked. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
it
you
got to the
take
point where I
the
don't
bench.
think they even expected me to do anything there. I'd just turn up and sit down. Like they knew that I wouldn't be taking part.
Uh, oh, who would win in a fight, an accountant or a banker?
Ooh, oh, bankers, they're vicious. They've
Okay.
got targets and things to hit.
Yeah.
They're brutal.
What is your biggest first world problem?
Oh, my biggest first world problem. Um, my biggest first world problem at the moment is that I can't run most games on my Mac, so I need to sell it to get a PC, a gaming PC. That's what we're trying to do at the moment.
Okay, that is definitely a first world
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
Um, when you've been traveling, how much stuff have you lost?
Oh God. Oh, I remember one night before leaving the ship to come home. So I was leaving a ship called the Summit, and the next ship that I'd joined was going to be the Equinox. So I wasn't going back to the ship. I'd probably not see the people that I worked with on there again, maybe one or two of them. And I just bought brand new set of Mac makeup because I was like
Oh,
obviously in the States and it was all so much cheaper and all this. So I just bought loads of it. I'd really enjoyed all the people that I was working with on that contract. So I'd gone out and gotten very, very, very inebriated. And in the morning, slept through all of my alarms. The
oh
HR
no.
manager was looking for me. You know, I was
Yeah.
delaying all of these people going through American immigration, like 100 people I was putting off going through American immigration from the ship. It's very strict, obviously. So one of my friends ends up knocking on my cabin door and getting in and being like, you are supposed to be like at the airport right now. All these people are waiting for you. You need to get up and go. All my bags had been taken the night before, but I had these like little bits. I was going to do my makeup in the morning, you know, as
Yeah.
a girl. I wanted to look fresh and everything. I ended up just grabbing my stuff and running. So I left like hundreds of dollars of makeup.
Oh,
that was really sad.
I wonder if somebody found them and used them and thought, oh, awesome. Like,
yeah, I reckon.
I'd like to
yeah,
think
someone definitely got loads of free
yeah.
makeup that contract. I was very, very gutted.
That's bad. That's bad. What would you like to be famous for?
Oh, we had this discussion the other day in the house. So I don't want to be famous. I think being friends with a famous person would be better because I still want to be able to go to eat at like nice restaurants without being hounded. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's a good idea, isn't it?
Yeah, if I was friends with a famous person, I could still walk in, get my food, no interruptions, it's fine. If I was a famous person, I'd be like hounded by the paps all the time, wouldn't I? So friends with a famous person instead of famous, that's...
let's have a look. I'm looking here. I've got about another 50 questions, but I think what I'll do, I'll save those for another day. Do you want to come back? Do you want to come back again?
I mean, it's been really fun today. I've really enjoyed it. So if you'll have me, I'll definitely come back.
So we've been going for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
So so we'll wrap it. We'll call it a wrap today. Thanks everybody for tuning in, for watching, for seeing Rachie. Please do, if you're thinking of a holiday, go to an independent person. That she's going to offer like a beautiful service.
Support local.
Support local. The contact details are on the top. They'll be in the description as well. This is it. This is like I don't know how to break it up, because we kind of got 2 episodes, I think, maybe 3, I'm not sure, but definitely the opening of season 2 has been great.
It's going to be a big one.
So much.
I think you always get nervous that you won't have enough to speak to someone about. But like I said, I talk a lot and I'm passionate. So
Also we kind of know each other, but from like 10 years ago. So like having, that we know each other, that helps. But also we haven't really spoken for about a decade.
Really, so not
like
properly, have we? So it's been really nice. But I hope I've not talked your ear off too much, and I hope it's useful for you.
No, I've loved it. It's been great to catch up and to hear all of those stories. I can tell that you've got loads more to talk to me about, but I think we should save it and come back again. So have you got anything that you want to say to people, or any last messages, any last words,
any famous last words? Just thanks so much for listening, everyone. Like, I know I talk a lot, but support local if you can. If it's not me as an independent travel agent to go to, someone else in your local area. They can offer everything from like UK breaks, like camping, like Haven holidays and things like that, UK rail, and like Harry Potter World in London, or theatre shows, to flying abroad and doing the dream destinations, honeymoons, things like that. So support local as much as you can. It really helps the community.
That's nice. Beautiful. Thank you so much for your time today. And
well, thanks for having me.
Subscribe and like.
Like and subscribe below.
Like and subscribe. Okay. Right.
Bye.